Hello and welcome. My name is Sheep Thief, and today I'll be coming at you with part 2 of this multiplayer online gameplay Iroquois YouTube video computer game gameplay tutorial YouTube video, uh, where I discuss how to play Iroquois in mid-level ELO. If you haven't seen part 1, then go and watch that, because this is much more specific information about how to play the Iroquois. So, what we're going to be doing in this one is, this will be a much shorter episode that will just cover openings, or what I call openings. I don't know if there's a better word for that. But yeah, openings, and then matchups. And we're going to go through it pretty quick, because I think ultimately this kind of stuff you have to kind of figure out for yourself, but I'll share what I know. We're just gonna set the AI to easy, because we're gonna play multiple games, and we're just talking about openings, so I don't want to deal with the AI at all. So let's just go. Well, I'll talk about it in theory and then show you. So to me, the Iroquois are should 95% of the time be played as a semi FF in mind. So when you get into a game, you should look at who you're fighting, and you need to start to learn what you're going to start to expect from these different civilizations. But we'll talk more about that in the matchup thing. But you need to sort of ask yourself, am I going to be fighting in Age 2 or Age 3? And really what you should be asking yourself is, how fast should I get up to Age 3? I think there are 2 standard openings that you should use between 75 to 80% of the time. One is Kanya first. So your first shipment in Age 2 is Kanya. The second is full tomahawks. So your first shipment is the 6 tomahawks. The only other one would be like an eco, just straight fast fortress one, but I think you should almost always make at least a few units in H2, just because you have so many options for getting a good amount of cheap or free units without cutting into your gold and still getting up to H3 at a decent time. So I've divided this into 2. The 2 main ones are Kanya opening and heavy tomahawk opening. So we're going to discuss both of them. So let's just go. And I'm using my bad.
Okay.
So the first thing when you're playing Iroquois is you have this travois, and you shouldn't just immediately make a house with it. You should use it to explore a little bit. You can actually get a fair amount of good information.
I do not need more riches.
Using it kind of like a sheep.
I will gladly deprive you of them.
You can use it kind of like a sheep in Age of Empires 2. And then I do always make a trading post. This is really bad, but it's because I'm using this mouse that I hate. So one thing with the Iroquois is you can convert treasure guardians. So what you want to do is go after you want to get a decently big little free army here, and then control group them, and then they can help you run things. And when you're about to get housed, just make a house with this. And then you need to get 200 wood so that you can make a trading post. Or it's really just 100 wood. You chop 100 wood, and then with your explorer, come and make a trading post. So yeah, just remember to recruit treasure guardians when you can, but then also once you get enough of them, stop, because they do give you a fair amount of XP by killing them. So once you have a nice little army here, then stop recruiting them, and you can you'll be fine. So obviously your first your first shipment is villagers. And then, if you guys have watched me play, you've probably heard me complain about this, but you can usually get up right around 3 minutes. If you get some food treasures, you can get up a little before, but it's actually quite common to be a little bit late. And so you want to do what you can to be efficient with your villager walk time. Make sure your herd is in a good spot. Yeah, and then since you have this nice little army here, you can start getting every treasure on the map with these recruited treasure guardians. So like I could get this guy, that. See, we're gonna be a little bit late. Like I expect us to be like, yeah, 3 or 4 seconds late. 3 seconds late. Go up with wait, let's just do that slowly. Go up with this one every time. This food is useful. So now we have the question of what opening do we do here? So when you're going up to age to put 5 village, you don't need any more than 5 villagers on wood. Just keep getting treasure. So like here, we want to kill this. We don't want to recruit this because we've got enough. We've got enough people now. We want our herd. I'm gonna do this slowly because it's hard for me to talk and do this at the same time. So this is gonna be sort of slowed down. But
I do not need more riches. But
yeah,
I will
5
gladly
villagers on
deprive you of
wood,
them.
and then when you get 125, you need to build a longhouse because you're going to be housed. Getting housed as the Iroquois is actually weirdly common. So yeah, 125. Make a house. Keep getting treasure. This is like this is too much of an army, but like you can see with all this, I can get every treasure on the map in my spare time during age 2 now, like no problem. So let's just pause it. Well, as soon as we get to age 2, we're gonna pause it. So when you get to age 2, you have a question to ask yourself: do I send Kanya? Or do I go full tomahawks? So, with the Kanya, you send Kanya, you make a war hut, you train 5 tomahawks, and then you send your big button from the TC. So what you get in the end is 4 Kanyas raiding quite early on their side of the map. And then you have 11, or no, just 10 tomahawks that you can use to like take out a trading post, a house. You can probe with the 10 tomahawks. This is the more cautious opening, in my opinion. The Kanya opening is more cautious. It punishes any bad herding in the beginning. It provokes making anti-cav from the enemy, which slows down their age 3. And it gives you, but it trades off like serious destruction of like base destroying tomahawk mass. So I think if you open with Kanya, you should be thinking about, well, and I'll show you how to do it. You should be thinking about going into age 3. So you send your 4 Kanya, you make your 10 tomahawks, you take your villagers off of wood, put them on gold, and then your next shipment is either 5 villagers or 600 coin, so that you can get up to age 3. So I'll show you this one. And you know what we'll do? We're actually going to save this as Iroquois tutorial. Openings. So with this, you make a war hut, and it's pretty important to have it in a pretty protective place. You want to take 2 villagers and gather the food that you got from aging up. You're gonna need that. Make another villager, and then with the Kanya opening, you send your 4 Kanya. I'm hurting terribly. Very terribly, actually. And so then, your next, in this situation, your next, actually always, your next shipment here will be the 5 villagers, because at this point you don't know whether or not you're going to go up to age 3. If you're doing the Kanya opening, you should be thinking about age 3. That's hopefully, or like, you're keeping that option open, but it's fully possible your opponent will overreact, in which case you'll need to stay in age 2. So what you should do, your next shipment should always be villagers. 5 villagers is a lot, so boom. Oops. Keep getting what are you guys doing? I don't know, just so okay, next, it's hard for me to do this while I'm talking. When your war hut goes up, what you want is to train 5, and then you want to use this big button here, which sends 5 tomahawks. So really you're going to get a double batch of tomahawks, and then also you want to set your home city gather point to this. So you get your 4 Kanya, and you just start raiding. Really simple. Just hotkey them, send them to the other side of the map. Then you're gonna get, this should be timed a little better. Actually, ideally you would make a villager before you did the big button. But it should actually, if I'd made another villager, the big button and the batch come out at the same time, and you've got 10 tomahawks. So at this point, we are going against an easy AI, so that he's gonna have nothing. But at this point, and we're a little behind because I'm playing badly, but at this point you should make another house. That's actually key. Because at this point, let me just slow down. When you've made all these units, you will be housed. So before this, actually, you should have made another house. Then you need a market, and then you take all of your villagers. At this point, your cavalry is on their side of the map, and you have an idea of what they're up to. Hopefully, you're already putting pressure right here. I don't want to destroy the AI too hard, but yeah, 2 villagers right here. You kill them with your cavalry. Raid with your cavalry. So at this point, you ask yourself, am I going to stay in age 2, or do I need to go up to age 3? And if you decide you want to go up to age 3, you take all of your villagers off of wood, put them on gold, and all new villagers onto gold. Actually, so market, and then let's just say we're raiding with our cavalry, and let's just say that the enemy has a trading post. You destroy it with your tomahawks. Try to kind of keep them alive, and you're just you're going up to age 3. Your next shipment at that point will be simply this 600 gold, which means you only need 400 gold from the politically correct bullshit thing that doesn't ever work, like this, whatever, and all new villagers can go on to food. At this point you can get the hunting dogs, so actually you need 450 gold from this. You could have gotten that. Keep making bills. It's hard to do this while I'm talking. Attack the enemy, you know, play the game. This comes in, you need a little bit more here, and la-di-da. Boom, 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 boom. And now everyone, boom. here, get like 2 of them, gathering all that. Keep making vills.
Hoka wanda. Cut Hanyoge.
Keep getting treasure.
Cut the Hanyoge.
What is this? And you should be clicking up, like this was not like
Hoka wanda.
right, but should be getting up at right about like between 8 minutes and 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And hopefully you've done some damage, destroyed some outlying buildings, and that's what I would call the Kanya semi-fast fortress opening. If they stay in H2, then this would be different in that you would have nobody on gold, and everybody would just be on food and wood, and you'd be making units. So that's the Kanya opening. Again, just one more time. Well, and let me just click up so you get the idea. Click up and go up fast. So again, it's the Kanya opening is Kanya, villagers, gold. TC big button, 1 batch of tomahawks. That's the Kanya opening. So let's show the full-on the mass tomahawks opening. So we'll go back to where we were. So the mass tomahawks opening is, we're in commerce, colonial age. Okay, things are still loading in. Okay, yeah. So you get to age 2. You're playing against a civilization where you're like, I want to have a ton of siege and do a lot of like very early pressure. This is how you do that. So your first shipment is tomahawks. Make 2 vills. Make your thing. Make your war hut. Take 2 villagers. Gather the resource crates that you got. Okay. Set your gather point, queue 5 of them, and then the question is here, would we do like, I think we'd do maybe, no, we'd just do this. Everything's coming here, and as you can see we'll end up having, and then, okay, so hold on, let's pause. So at this point we're right about to have 16 tomahawks pretty early on. So the first thing you need to do is make a house, make a vill, and your next shipment will be Kanyas. So with this opening it's tomahawks and then Kanyas. Now the reasoning for this is that you're going to have 16 tomahawks, and that's like in their base really quick, and they're going to have to react to that because you can start burning down their buildings, and their reaction could be their own musketeers, but more likely and more wisely it would be some kind of foot archer or skirmisher or anti-infantry, and so you're going to preemptively get the counter to that, which is the Kanya. When they see, you'll see why. So your next, so make a bill. Next thing, Kanya horsemen, and you're gonna need a house. So as you can see, 16 tomahawks at like, if we were being faster, 5 minutes and 30 seconds, marching across to their side of the map. This is nasty. This is a lot. As soon as this goes up, queue another tomahawk. And with this one, you want to stay in H2. You want to stay in H2 a little longer than the Kanya opening, because if you start to get an advantage, you want to just win in H2. You don't want to, with this you're going straight for the jugular. You're going straight to their base. Don't waste time on a trading post. Go back to the trading post if they fend you off. Go straight for their side of the map. Your goal is to kill, if you see a barracks, any military production is target number 1. Target number 2, houses. Target number 3, town center. Go for the town center last. This is a lot of tomahawks, but it's not enough to burn down the town center, and it's not like enough for that. But you can easily take down a barracks, easily take down houses. Yeah. So, all new villagers go on to food. Something wrong with that. And your next thing is a... So here you have your Kanya horsemen, which will be perfect because as you can see, my tomahawks are like arriving at their side of the map, which means they're like, uh-oh, what do I do? And they're gonna start making crossbowmen or skirmishers or some kind of anti-infantry unit, and by the time they're made, your Kanya will arrive. So they react to the tomahawks with, let's just say, crossbowmen. Oh, finally, I have my crossbowmen. I can kill these tomahawks. The Kanya are on top of them. They lose the tomahawks, or they lose the crossbowmen. So with the full tomahawk opening, it's tomahawks into Kanya because the Kanya counter to the tomahawks. Yeah. Your next thing. So I should have gotten a full batch of tomahawks there. Keep the tomahawks coming. I don't want to defeat the AI, but as you can see, this is nasty. They have to react to this. Find their villagers, destroy their houses. You get it. Okay. Keep the tomahawks coming. Herd, and then your next shipment is villagers, and you just stay in H2 and keep the H2 pressure coming. No villagers need to be on gold unless you want to get the wood chopping upgrade, which you should at some point. So ideally you do that by getting some treasure with your war chief, but so now we need another house. You need a fair amount on wood. You get hunting dogs. Keep the tomahawks coming, and you just have to start fighting in H2. But that's the opening. We're not going to talk about much more than that. Trying to think what else to say about this. Your next shipment after the villagers, you're going to have a pretty strong eco if you've kept, unlike me, if you've kept villager production steady. You're going to have a lot of villagers as soon as this shipment comes in. So you're going to have a strong H2 eco, and yeah, that's the heavy tomahawk opening. Trying to think what else to say about it. As time goes on, you want to get these upgrades once you have a decent army, and then if you'd chosen a more H2 focused deck, you'd have conservative tactics instead of new ways. Only send this when you're ready to age up. No reason to send it for any other reason. What the 600 wood is for is getting your stable up, and then Kanyas cost 75 wood each. So if you need to transition into Kanyas, which you can do, which you should do a lot of the time if you're stuck in H2 with this opening, send the wood and it'll make it easier. But now we're getting too hypothetical. I just wanted to talk about the opening. And so to cover it one more time, this heavy tomahawk opening is get to H2, send tomahawks, send tomahawks, queue up one batch of tomahawks, send big button upgrade. They all arrive at about the same time. You have 16 tomahawks, build a house somewhere in there, queue another tomahawk, keep the villagers coming. Your next shipment is Kanya horsemen, which can arrive on top of an enemy crossbow batch right about the time that it comes out. So tomahawks, Kanya, villagers. That's the heavy tomahawk opening. The only other opening that I think, those are the two openings that I use every time. Maybe that's bad. Maybe I should have more openings, but those are the only two I use. So those are the only two I'll talk about. If you really just want to get straight into age 3, then you just send the chests of coin, and you can get up to age 3 decently quickly. Um, but I think you're sacrificing a lot of strength you have in age 2 by doing that. So that's all for the openings. Let's talk about trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting. I guess once you're in age 3, the 3 important cards are musket riders for anti-cav and anti-artillery. I'd say this is the card the most cautious and safe card you can send is the 5 musket riders as soon as you get to age 3. The next would just be the forest prowlers, just to get that mass up, because there's this point where you can have a decently big mass from these 8 forest prowlers. So if you're sure that they aren't going to have some huge cav pop on you, and if you're sure they're not going to have falconets, then the greedier thing would be the forest prowlers. And then the other option for first card in age 3 is these cuirassiers. So if they have tons of crossbowmen and you're just like, holy shit, and you back and you go age 3, send the cuirassier and you can clean that up. So remember you have that. And the earlier you send these cuirassiers, the card is called Renegade French. The sooner you send Renegade French, the better. But obviously, you don't send it every time. Like if they have a ton of musketeers, don't send it. Only send it if they have tons of skirmishers or crossbowmen or something like that. Yeah. And then your next card, I think, should very commonly be 4 rams. Because if you can win an early fight, the way to translate it into a win is with the rams. So in age 3, cautious musket riders, greedy forest prowlers, situationally decisive renegade French, and almost always after the next card, number 2 card in age 3 is 4 rams. So that's my my simplified Iroquois age 3 card sending guide right there. So the final thing we'll do here is quit, and I'm just going to talk about some of the matchups. I'll just go through each one. Some of these I haven't played much against, some of them I've played against a fair amount. All of this should be taken with a grain of salt. So first of all, Aztecs, Kanya horsemen. They don't have a great way of dealing with cavalry, and the Kanyas can do a decent job of keeping up with the coyotes and punching down the slingers, which if you have the superior AN mass and they don't have slingers, you can kill a lot of their... If you can protect against the coyotes, you can beat them in age 2. In age 3, things get weird, and I haven't played it against them enough. I've played a fair amount of Aztecs myself, and I would say as the game goes on, Aztecs will start to completely destroy the Iroquois. So try to win early and make more Kanya than you think you'll need. Against the British, do the full heavy tomahawk opening, and be on top of your Kanyas, because you're going to need them to deal with longbows. Yeah, try to win in age 2, I'd say. Chinese, I was doing really well against them, but recently I've had trouble against them. You really don't want to go late against them. I'd say try to stay in age 2, but there's also this timing where if you can fit age 3 in there, if they're stuck in age 2, going up to age 3 is really strong, because your forest prowlers destroy most of their units, and they don't get a good way to deal with your forest prowlers until age 3. So try to lock them try to provoke them into staying in H2, but you also have to be careful because there's this H2 push that they can do that can destroy you if you greedily go up to H3. So you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to be delicate with the Chinese, but there's certainly windows where you can utterly destroy them, and I've done it. But they're also, if you mistime it, they can destroy you. It's dicey playing against the Chinese. So yeah, I guess to sum that up, herd well. I would say open with Kanya, because what you want to do, so with the Chinese, what you want to do is provoke an overreaction in H2, and then punish it in H3. So I'd say open with Kanyas, get them to overreact, carefully, not blindly, but carefully go into H3, get forest prowlers, and destroy their army. Dutch, full, like as you might expect, full tomahawk opening. Always do the full tomahawks and just try to start burning down. You can burn down a bank pretty early with all those tomahawks. But yeah, again, always have that second card be the Kanya because they can get skirmishers in H2. Also, if you get up to H3, send the cuirassier early because they'll probably have made a lot of skirmishers and think they're untouchable until you get a big cavalry mass. But like a surprise cuirassier on top of the Dutch can be mean, but watch out for halberdiers. Ethiopians, I have no idea. I don't know what they do. France always open with the Kanya. The reason for that is that the Kanya do melee damage, and the coureurs de bois, the French villagers, don't have good melee resist, and so a lot of French players, especially in mid-level elo, are really sort of reckless with their villagers, and so you can punish sloppy French herding with the Kanyas early on, and yeah, so I'd say always send the Kanyas against the French. The other thing is that the French can get they have a crossbow shipment, they commonly build it feels nice to build musketeers as the French, so the full tomahawk opening against them is a little iffy in my opinion. But the Kanya opening is very strong, especially against sloppier players, or well, maybe not sloppier, but just maybe mid-level players who are not totally on point with their herding. Germans is a weird one. The war wagons utterly destroy your musket riders and Kanya. So this is one where for your anti-cav, if you're playing against the Germans, use tomahawks. Do not use musket riders against the Germans for anti-cav. And then just try to have the bigger skirmisher mass. One nice thing about the Germans is it's a little hard for them to get artillery. So you don't even really need the musket riders that much. They still can get it, and there's one really painful game on my channel where I'm like fighting against the Germans and he's like slowly getting artillery and I can't quite mess it up. And I keep sort of messing it up. So the Germans are actually a civilization where if you're in age 3 and you're sort of in a stalemate and they're trying to mass up cannons to fight you, go to H4 and get your light cannons, because that's one of the situations where that timing of having the light cannons can shut down the German artillery, European artillery. So don't be afraid to go up to H4 against the Germans. I think it can pay off. It can also get you extra range on your skirmishers, which can help you take down their war wagons, take down their skirmishers, and just have an edge. And then the big tip I would say is use tomahawks as anti-cav, and then obviously herd well, but that always applies for the Germans. But tomahawks as anti-cav. Don't be afraid to go H4. Get your upgrades is my guide for the Germans. Oh my god, I almost fell for the typo. Iroquois mirrors are every single time I've had an Iroquois mirror, it's been like an age 2 knife fight. So herd well, try to win the initial Kanya engagement, and whoever has more Aenas, oh, it's just such a rock paper scissors thing. It's gonna be Tomahawks versus Kanya versus Aena, and I don't have a good win rate against Iroquois in a mirror, so I'm not sure I'm the one to ask, but I would say just be ready for age 2 stuff, and try to win the initial Kanya engagement. Get a stable up. You need a stable. So send wood. Send wood. Maybe is the best piece of advice. I don't know what that does. Inca is Cancer. Lots of anti-building, so lots of tomahawks. Try to win early. Don't let it go late. Lots of tomahawks and Kanya, I think. But they have like a spearman that's sort of, I don't know. I don't know much about them, but yeah, tomahawks. Against the Indians, I have a pretty good success rate, even though they're supposed to be overpowered right now. I haven't like really witnessed the overpowered Indian Cancer. In fact, I would say that they seem kind of weak, so maybe it's a good matchup against them. You want to try to win in age 2. And yeah, just don't take trades with their Sepoy. Don't do Tomahawk versus Sepoy trades. That will always fail. Just run away from the Sepoys. And I don't know. I think you have to kind of see what the Indians are doing. If they get up to age 3, they have so many things they can do. I can't really say. I guess I've had success with a pretty strong age 2 pressure into age 3. If I look back on my wins against them, I feel like I commonly just hit pretty hard in age 2, destroy any trading posts they have, destroy anything they have out of their base. Try to kill any Gurkhas they make with your Kanya. But there's a point where you sort of have to go up to age 3, and then I don't know. It's too hard to say. That's a weird one. Italians are Cancer, full age 2, always do heavy tomahawk opening, and try to kill their crossbow, their special crossbow shipment. And yeah, I would just say destroy houses. Looking at replays of losing to the Italians, I don't destroy enough houses. Like I destroy one house, and looking at their perspective, that causes serious problems. So use your tomahawks to destroy any houses, and don't lose your Kanyas recklessly. Japanese, full tomahawk opening, just try to find their shrines and destroy them, and your Aenas trade well against pretty much all of their units. If you get to the main issue is when they get up to age 3, flaming arrows are really strong against you, so you need lots of Kanya to destroy flaming arrows. And I would just avoid musket riders because they will die to Yumis and Ashigaru, and it would be better to just have in my experience, trying to kill flaming arrows. Also, it's like hard to right click flaming arrows. They're sort of a weird model, and I feel like my musket riders just start shooting the wrong thing. So just use Kanya, and you need lots of Aenas, and then also just watch out for their Naginata cavalry. So yeah, I'd say age 2 is where to do it. But there's a point if they start to turtle that you can go up to age 3. But if you've destroyed a lot of their shrines, you should be fine. The Sioux, I haven't played against them much. I usually win against them. I would say full tomahawk opening, because if you can destroy their war hut and like their bow riders are gonna destroy your Kanya. So yeah, I'd say Aenas and Tomahawks, um, and if it drags on, your Forest Prowlers will work pretty well against them. Malta, I haven't really played against them that much. This is one of the civs that is like more aggressive than you can be, more aggressive than you are with a crossfoot pike rush. So scout well, and if you're getting crossfoot pike rush, that's a situation where you need to send Aenas really early. Yeah, so mass Aenas against them, and you could even, if you're getting super pressured by them, Forbidden Jitsu, Travois spam, might be like super like dishonorable but effective against a Maltese rush like that. Mexico, full tomahawk, destroy their cancer, extreme aggressive chemotherapy against Mexico every time. Ottomans, Ottomans can do multiple things. You need to scout. If they're going up to H3, you need to have you need to make tons of musket riders early on because the Spahi are coming and they will destroy you. Your tomahawks will like fail against Spahi. You need tons of musket riders to deal with Spahi, and you need to see it coming. So if they're going H3, you pretty much have to go H3 too. If they're pressuring you in H2 Aenas, do not try to trade tomahawks for janissaries. You will fail. Lots of Aenas, and then lots of Kanya, and just scout, but don't make Kanya until you see their artillery foundry go up. If you see an artillery foundry, you make a stable and get Kanya ready to deal with Abyss gunners. So what opening would I do against them? I think I normally do like Kanya opening, a sort of semi-FF, and don't yourself get bogged down in H2 against the Ottomans. Portuguese full heavy tomahawks, obviously, because you need to burn down town centers. Stay in H2. The organ guns are totally destroy your armies. So if you can keep them from going to H3 in any way by any way possible, then do so. If they get up to H3, your best way of dealing with organ guns is Kanya horsemen. But they have a ton of ways to deal with Kanya horsemen as well. They have halberdiers, they have musketeers, they have special dragoons, genitours or whatever. So there can be a way to get to send the renegade French, the cuirassier. I think I've had that work a few times, but I'd say the rule of thumb against Portuguese is extreme chemotherapy in H2, heavy H2 pressure. Russians, I feel like are kind of good against the Iroquois, or maybe I'm just bad, but I fail against the Russians a lot. The Strelets trade well against all of your units, and the Kanya, like... So yeah, I'd say against the Russians you want Kanya horsemen in H2, and the Kanya beat Cossacks. They're better than Cossacks, and easier to get, less painful to get than it is for, like the Russians send the Cossack shipment, but then they don't want to make any more after that. So you can actually win the cavalry engagements, and then you can use that to shut down their Strelets. But this is all hypothetical because I've failed against them a lot. It's hard to deal with their blockhouses too, so yeah, I would say avoid the blockhouses and make Kanyas. Spanish, I think, are really strong against the Iroquois because they can just get up to H3 no problem, and then they get falconets and it's really hard to deal with. Keep your Kanya alive, destroy their trading post, get up to H3, and then your only prayer is destroying their cannons when they inevitably send them. Swedes, destroy their torps. I would do full tomahawk pressure. But you need to watch out for the leather guns, and if they are making leather guns, then go up to H3, and I think the best way of dealing with leather guns is to just go up to H3 and get forest prowlers and just shoot the leather guns with forest prowlers with your skirmishers. So, because the only other way is to kill them with Kanya, which you can do, but if the player is good, he'll see that coming, and his Caroleans will utterly destroy your Kanya in melee. So, yeah, I think getting up to forest prowlers is the key, and then use your initial tomahawks to just destroy their torps. And then USA, as you guys probably know, is the bane of my existence. Gatling guns completely destroy you. What I've found is merely Kanyas can destroy them pretty quickly, but if they have a ton of regulars sat on top of their Gatling guns, they can literally just slowly walk across the map and destroy you. I don't quite know what the counter is. You can't get up to age 4 as well as they can. If you leave them alone, they get tons of forts, which capitalizes on your lack of siege problems. If you get pushed by them in age 3, there's a problem. What you want to do is keep them from getting up to age 3. So against the United States, your only prayer is try to get up as soon as possible and get your 16 tomahawks into their base. Do whatever you can to keep them from getting up. But I sort of think against a good player, it's almost impossible to beat the United States as the Iroquois. So that's everything. I hope that's just a little bit of wisdom for each one. I don't really know how to timestamp in a YouTube video, but maybe I'll go through this and timestamp it. But maybe not. I'm not sure. Maybe if it gets tons of views, I will. If you like this, then subscribe. I upload all of my ranked 1v1s, and I play a fair amount. Recently I took like a week off, or had to take a week off, but normally I play multiple games a day and I upload all of them, and we're gonna be playing more civs than just the Iroquois from now on. And let me know if you have any thoughts, opinions, critiques, disagreements. I'm curious what people think, and I'm fully willing to be wrong about things and learn more about the Iroquois myself. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.